Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the essentials of how to EQ your vocals so they won't get lost in your mix. Let's start by dealing with a basic misconception. Despite what any guitarist thinks, the vocals are the star of the show, so when you're mixing vocals, it's about making the song fit around the vocals, not the other way around. If you find yourself struggling to EQ your vocals, it might be something to do with the way that you captured them, the room that you captured them in, or it could be the mix itself. Me personally, I like to bring my vocals into the mix as early as possible. So once I get a good rough instrumental mix going, I will bring my vocals in so I can get more of a full picture of the song. This helps me correlate, how loud the vocals are, how they're hitting certain things, how they're hitting my two bus, how they're hitting my master. There's a lot of considerations that go into play here, and everyone's different. Now, the reason I do that is I found if I add the vocals in last, I may be making the mistake of not leaving any room for the vocals early on. While there are several go-to EQ moves I make for my vocals, how I fit them into my signal chain is incredibly important and can change depending on the mix and what the sound demands. So for example, let's take saturation. You can use saturation for sculpting your vocals. Since vocals are more of a mid-range instrument, so to speak, using saturation can really round out the vocals, emphasizing the mids and smoothing out the highs. Another good example would be if you like to EQ before your compressor. This allows you to add more highs, which the compressor will tame, giving your vocals that floating, airy feel that you hear so many people talk about. For an easier explanation, I'm going to take you over the EQ module within Gamma, and I'm going to show you some of my go-to EQ moves, my starting points on this scream vocal. I have the compressor on here on hard mode at about 82% mix. I have auto gain on. I don't really have too much saturation going on. It didn't really need it. So let's go ahead and I'll show you exactly what I'm listening to as I go through this.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get angry.
Personally, I like to use a high-pass filter first and foremost to cut out any unwanted low end in the vocals that I don't want. This can conflict with a lot of your instruments, and especially whenever you start stacking vocals on top of one another, you're stacking more of that low end on top of one another, and it just doesn't sound good. It'll take up a lot of space. It'll make the vocals sound very cloudy, and you don't want that. Continuing on.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get angry. I've got nothing to hold against any of this.
So what I was doing there is kind of like this low mid type area, specifically around 400. I don't like how boxy that makes the vocal. It's just kind of not my thing. And then I adjusted the high pass filter a little bit because whenever I'm dipping this down, it's also dipping that area where the high pass filter was at before. So let's go ahead and listen to this in context of the mix to check our moves out.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get.
A next quick and easy move that I'll do is if I want the vocals to be brighter, I just do a high shelf, starting at around 8K. And you can go extreme with this or not. You can also use a high shelf to cut high end, which is pretty cool too. If you have a vocal that's a little too bright sounding that you want to make darker really quick, let's go ahead and check this out in context too while I boost this and take it down and find a sweet spot.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get angry. I've got nothing to hold against any of this.
I like that at about 2 to 3 dB. Another thing that I will do while I'm up here is I'll take a bell band and I will go ahead and fish around for any unwanted whistles. Typically, I find this around anywhere from 2.5 to 4K, depending on the vocal source. So let's go ahead and look for that in solo mode, and we'll cut that out to make it fit the mix a lot better.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get angry. I've got nothing to hold against any of
It's right there at about 3.2K. So let's go ahead and cut that down. Not that much, maybe like 3 to 4 dB. Let's hear that before and after the EQ module. I'll turn the EQ module off and then I'll turn it back on. And I heavily suggest headphones for this or monitors. That way you can hear exactly what this is doing.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get angry. I've got nothing to hold against anymore.
Now in solo, you might be thinking, wow, the vocals might sound just a little bit thinner than they used to. But if you listen to it in the context of the mix, you'll see how it fits into the mix and how it gives each instrument its own space to breathe as well. So go ahead and take a listen.
Feeling empty. Get to the point where I can't feel anymore, but I can't get angry. I've got nothing to hold against any of this.
You can hear the guitar tone clearly. You can hear what the sub and the low end is doing. Nothing's getting in the way of the snare. The cymbals are nice and bright. You can hear everything clear as day. And that can be achieved with something as simple as vocal EQ. And that's it. Follow these simple steps and your vocals will be sure to shine in any mix. Now keep in mind, these are just basic foundational steps that I've laid out here. The key here is to experiment on your own time with your own vocals. Everybody's music is different. Everyone's song that they're trying to do this to is a little different. So don't take this as the absolute word and end all be all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips and tutorials. Thanks for watching and happy songwriting.